Today's video might be a little bit off topic compared to the normal facilities maintenance repair videos that I do, but if you know me, I do like to fix things, so let me tell you the story about my Honda Ridgeline.
Buckle up for safety as I give you a day in the life of facilities maintenance.
It all started when the engine seized on our 2007 Honda Ridgeline. My wife was driving home from work and it just shut down. The oil was fresh and full, we'd done a timing belt about 1,000 kilometers previous, and the radiator itself was only 3 months old. In other words, there's no reason why this engine should have failed. As best as we could figure, the oil pump just quit working. I swapped out the bad motor with a new one that only had 84,000 kilometers on it, shipped from Japan via Calgary, and the kids at school did the job. If I'm honest, it was quite challenging for them, and it took about a year, so the vehicle sat for a long time, which I think contributed to this problem. The vehicle was throwing a check engine light, and so I took it into my friends at CDK Automotive Repairs, and it turned out to be a P2422 EVAP Canister vent stuck closed. I figured that the likely reason that this valve, which used to work, is now stuck is because the vehicle sat for a year unused. So I took my truck into the shop on a day off. As soon as I got out of my truck, I could hear this hissing noise from outside. I had to find the source of that and shut this down, because had this run all weekend, it would have burned out our compressor. As it turns out, it was this old coily air line that supplies air pressure to our 4-post lift. That was interesting. The EVAP canister lives up underneath this cage, and the part that I'm going for is what's called the EVAP canister filter. That's where the valve lives. To remove this cage, you have about half a dozen 11mm bolts. With the cage out of the way, I can actually see the part that I'm going for. It's this one right here. But in order to gain easier access to undo the clips and the wires, you might want to remove these 3 10mm bolts here and just drop the whole harness down a little bit. And with that done, you'll have gained enough access to be able to remove the little EVAP canister dust filter, which is what it's actually called. Now, oddly enough, I was able to blow air through this, which seems strange since the fault was that the valve was stuck closed. However, I do have a theory about this. Feel free to ask me about it in the comments. But before I do anything else, I wanted to bench test it by sending a small amount of voltage through it, which should actuate the valve inside if everything is working correctly. I have a couple leads connected to an M12 battery, so I'm going to try and test this, and I should hear a click. I do not. What happens is that I hear no click other than the sound of electricity meeting the contacts, and if I hold them there for a second, the contacts start glowing orange. So, obviously, whether it's in the open or closed position, the valve inside is not actuating. It is stuck, which is why I thought, well, I should be able to clean it with a proper solution and hopefully get it moving again. Enter Mass Airflow Sensor Cleaner. I chose to use this because it is safe to use in an application like this. It's not going to harm any of the plastics or the rubber seals or anything like that in this body, in this filter assembly with the valve in it. So I just filled the sucker up and shook it around and dumped it out and filled it up again. I made sure to move the valve back and forth, in and out, a whole bunch of times while I was doing it. After doing this rinse and repeat process for about 10 minutes or so, I took it back to the bench to retest. Listen to this. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it. It's activating now. So how long that lasts, I do not know, but it was definitely stuck before, which would explain the electrical resistance. And now it is activating again. Cool. So it's working again. Now, just in case it doesn't permanently repair the problem, I did manage to chase the part down. But for now, for about $15 and less than an hour of my time, I was able to repair the problem. If I'm honest, the worst part of this job was rolling on a creeper with only 3 working wheels. And if you look at the water on the creeper itself, I had snow in the bed of the truck, and so I was constantly getting rained on while I'm underneath the vehicle. There it is. Evaporative emission system vent valve stuck closed. However, I fixed the issue, so let us try to erase that code. That is all right, because if it is a problem, it will come back. There, as you can see, check engine light is no longer on. Now, previously, when that problem existed and it was cleared with a scan tool, I didn't have to run for too long before the code came back, because I believe the vehicle goes through a kind of a self-check. Well, we're good at idle. Let's go for a run around the block. Well, we've gone a few kilometers and we're still good. Check engine light has not come back on. Well, a couple more kilometers in the books and still no check engine light. Gotta say, things are looking pretty hopeful. And there you go, we're good. No more P2422 EVAP Canister vent stuck closed fault. It's gone, we're clear. That repair was done with $15 worth of cleaner, of which I only used about maybe $3 worth. I call that a success. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you next time.